Hey, what's good? I'm Brandon Havard, in case you forgot, because it's been a century. Today we're going to talk about how I'm still not sponsored by Starbucks. No, not actually. That was a joke. Now this is a case for the Pixel 3a, not the actual case, but the Pixel 3a. That was supposed to be a joke, but it wasn't really that fun. Now, ostensibly, this phone is the cheaper version of this phone, the Pixel 3 or Pixel 3 XL in this case, but not that case. Really feeding a fed horse. Now, this is not a review of this phone. Far from. If you want that, go to another channel. But instead, this is basically an unorthodox view of something like this. I think this phone is more of a camera. I'd recommend it as more of a $400 camera. Specifically, I think it's more of a point and shoot replacement or a cheaper end DSLR replacement. A cut and dry, very simple, very easy to use, time-saving version of a point and shoot or DSLR. Now, let's say, for instance, that there is this grandma named Drusi living in Spain. Now, let's say that Drusi is not what we'd call a technically advanced type. Maybe she's still using a flip phone or a BlackBerry. But let's say that Drusi wants to take good photos of her grandkids or of her trip coming up to Nebraska. I feel like I could write a whole screenplay about Drusi. Let's take the complexity of a point and shoot in terms of the settings and all that sort of stuff and all the buttons, and let's take the complexity of a lower end DSLR, including, trying to find lenses, trying to figure out what the hell, focal length means. Let's just push that all out of the equation and let's just set her up with this. Really, it comes down to two factors for me. It's that simplicity and easy to use. It's just, set up the phone real quick, take the photo, and you're there. And number two, Drusi is probably not going to touch up those photos or color grade those photos in any way, shape, or form after she presses the shutter button. So that's where I think this comes in and really shines, because Google is so great at their post-processing software. They're so great at mastering HDR, and HDR that actually looks good. This camera produces a really well-rounded, really great looking photo after you press that shutter button. I mean, besides maybe a few exposure changes or saturation changes, it's pretty much ready to go to her grandkids or wherever the hell Drusi is publishing. Drusi probably still has a MySpace. But the point that I'm really trying to drive home is that I think for the less tech savvy, less photo savvy people, this is a better, completely unorthodox option to lower end actual cameras. I mean, we're talking $400 for the baseline smaller version. You can slot that in your camera bag. You can, it's plastic. It's so light. Plus, if you want to keep it safe from, rubbing against your keys or whatever, you can buy a D-brand skin. See what I did there? Personally, a huge fan of the marble, especially on the white variant of the phone with the orange power button. Throw on the orange Google logo and it looks honestly amazing. Now, I know it's a broad, kind of crazy statement saying that you should buy a brand new phone just as a camera. So that said, I didn't want to make it just my voice talking about something like this. I wanted to invite someone on that I really respect as a photographer, Tyler Stallman, to get his take on this point.
I definitely think there's less and less people that it makes sense to spend a few $100s on point and shoot. I mean, on a dedicated camera, that gap has just been narrowing so much. Mm-hmm. And as the processors on phones has taken off, just totally demolished what any point and shoot camera can do, that computational photography has obviously, we've seen what it does. And we were just on a week-long trip with my mother-in-law, and she was getting me to pack up her point and shoot. It was a little bit older Sony. It was a decent camera at the time. I mean, it still is a good camera, takes good photos. We were trying to figure out the memory cards, and we were just like, why don't you just take your iPhone? But in her case, she's getting our hand-me-down iPhones, right? So she's getting an amazing phone that she doesn't care about, and she wouldn't want to spend that much on it. But I can see a lot of people that now the price point of the new Pixel, all of a sudden they can have the quality of those top-tier phones for a price they're willing to pay, and not that hard to learn. I think they can just kind of pick up 2 or 3 little tricks and go really far with it.
So, yes, I'm crazy. I'm aware of it. But I think I may have a point. So as a mission statement to all of the grandmas watching this, thank you for watching this. This is the camera you should bug your grandchildren to buy you, or your children, or your spouse, or really up to you. Anyways, love you all. Thank you all for watching. This is kind of a transitional period for me, honestly, making videos. I'm just sort of doing what I like, making videos I enjoy making, because I think it's better for both of us. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'll be hanging out in the comments for a couple hours. Anyways, cheers, thank you, bye, dbrand skin. Thank you again for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace out, fam.